All right, guys, before we get into today's video, I just want to issue a brief trigger warning for anybody who has ever been in this situation to where either you've been in an SA situation, period, and you don't want this video to trigger you, or if you've ever been in a situation like that and you tried to tell somebody the story and they just didn't believe you. Now, I know it happens with women sometimes where people don't believe them, but that's not what we're talking about today. So again, brief trigger warning. All right. If any of that stuff affects you, if you get triggered by any of that stuff, don't watch this video. You've been warned.
Let's on record deny that you were because you was not. Let's on record deny that you were because you was not.
How are you going to tell this man that he did not go through what it is that he went through? Were you there? Were you in the room with them? And ain't no way that I'm going to tell my story to somebody and they're going to sit there in disbelief and discredit me for saying that a woman forced herself either on me or forced me to do something that I didn't want to do. Ain't no way you're going to sit there and tell me this. What's going on, everyone? This is your man, Brandon Geo, one half of Residual Impact. And yo, check it. This video was a part of Kendra G's live stream about a week ago, and she received so much backlash for what happened in the video that she actually deleted it from her channel. So you can't really find the original video anywhere. However, there have been several content creators who have already done reaction videos to Kendra's video, some of which who have saved the original video. And due to that, I'm going to react to somebody else's reaction. With that being said, the one thing that I have not seen with anybody else's reactions are comments from the original video before Kendra deleted it, which I have several of those comments thanks to, I'll reveal the source later. But if you want to see some of those comments from Kendra's original video, be sure to watch this video all the way to the end. Now, before we continue, I want to give a big shout out to Theo Coop of the Do Better podcast. I'm reacting to his reaction video. So without further ado, let's get into it.
Papa Dan.
Papa Dan?
Yeah. It's my company, my business. But yeah.
Say
so I've been on your show before. Yeah, I've been on your show before, like back in 2022 when you first got
3 years ago.
Yeah, a little minute ago. Yeah. So then that was back when I was in Florida. I live in St. Louis now, so
we've grown so much. We got the Kendra Cam, we got a dating app. So you want to do it again?
I'm here to try again. Different city, new people, you know what I mean? So let's go for it.
Let's go for it. What's your name, sir? You said Pop. So what am I going to call you?
You can call me Daniel, Papa Dan. That's
Daniel. No. Daniel, and you're in St. Louis now?
St. Louis now.
How old are you?
33, going on 34.
Okay, and what's your zodiac sign?
I'm a Pisces, March 5th, baby.
Okay. You have any kids?
I have a son.
How old is your son?
He's going to be 2. He's another Pisces, just like his daddy.
Why are you not with the mama?
He's March 10th.
Why are you not with the mama? You had a baby since you've been on my show, too.
Yeah. Another person trying to run the system, trying to take advantage, you know.
She raped you?
Yeah, you can say that. We won't, as a man, I can't really run with that narrative because nobody can really believe it. But yeah, I put it on the Bible that that's what happened. But, you know, at the end of the day, I'm still an accountable adult. Still got to do what I have to do in this world, you know, because that is my prodigy. So nevertheless, how he got here, that's what we doing.
Now, real quick, I want you to pay attention to Kendra's body language when he answered the question that she asked him when she said, did she R-word you? Body language is going to be very important in this video. Body language is almost everything in this video, especially when it comes to Kendra. So pay attention to that. Now, this video kind of hits close to home because I have a similar story. Not quite like his because a child didn't come out of my story. But I've mentioned this on a podcast episode before where I was coerced into having relations with a woman that I used to deal with. And I don't know, it was just a time and place kind of thing. You know, it was a situation to where I wanted her, but not right then. And, you know, I wanted her once we got much more comfortable with each other, I will say. And it just ended up happening because she kept pushing. She kept wanting to do it. She kept pushing. She kept touching. She wanted it. And no matter how many times I said no, she kept pushing for it until I finally gave in. I won't get into the entire story today because this video is not about me, but let's continue.
I need the details of how you got raped by the girl.
How many times has Kendra G talked to women who've come onto her show and said that they've been assaulted in some type of manner? Name me the number of times when Kendra G says, hey, okay, well, explain to me your great mental note.
She is not a citizen of America. So naturally, if you've been in America illegally, you know, you're going to try to do your best to try to stay. And in your mind and way of thinking, not even if you ask any of your homegirls that's international too, they'll tell you, ain't a good idea to just, go up sleep with an American dude and just try to have a baby so you can try to stay in America, hoping he will marry you. That's what they be hoping they gonna marry you. No, they ain't gonna get got, ain't gonna get Papa Dan. No, ain't gonna get me.
Papa Dan. So
unfortunately, Dan, she did get you.
What's up?
With all that being said, you still have to willingly have, this is why I said, because that's the only way a woman could trap you. Right. But if you willingly had sex with her, then you participated. So did you willingly have sex with her?
I mean, she got me. I used to make wine back then. So like I said, on the level of accountability,
she Bill Cosby you? She gave you a pill?
For me, I can say on a level of accountability, you know, when a woman wraps their legs around you in the process of you being on top and you trying to relinquish yourself from the situation, and she's saying, no, dude, you ain't going nowhere. You going to have my baby. And in that moment as a dude, you're like, all right, well, shit, we going to do plan B like we normally do. And then she looked at me like, no, we ain't doing that neither. So, you know, I was like.
Okay, so again, so she's letting you know all this in the act, and you still went through with it. So how was this?
He literally just explained to you, Kendra G, but Kendra G is one of those women who they can't fathom a man being taken advantage of. And let me throw this out there, because even when men are victims, like this gentleman is going to explain that he is, even when men are victims, men are still held accountable. We would never put a magnifying glass on a woman if she ever said she was assaulted. But as a man, I can say this, Papa Dan, you messed up by having intercourse with a low caliber woman. If she's just trying to sleep with you for a green card, she's not a woman of high character. The second of all, you should have wore a condom, bro. You would have had your rubber on when the time happened and she tried to lock you in, because that's what she's saying, Kendra G. Because Kendra G's not the brightest bulb in the pack. You need to explain to her how sexual organs work. When he went to ejaculate, Kendra, what he's trying to explain to you is that she wrapped her legs around him and held him inside of her, which meant that the only thing that he could do is releasing her and then have her get a plan B in the morning to prevent said pregnancy. And she said she wasn't going to do it.
You know, women's right, her body, her choice.
Exactly. So here's the deal, her body, her choice, but you can decide not to put your body inside her body.
Again, I can relate to this because I've been in that situation. Fortunately, a child did not come out of my situation. None that I know of anyway. But it's rare that men come forward with stories like this, especially when there's a woman involved, because no matter what, somebody is going to try to hold a magnifying glass to us and want to question us and have us try to take accountability for a situation. And in a situation like this, no matter what, Kendra is just trying to put it out there as if there's no possible way that he could be taken advantage of by a woman. And that's far from the truth. Let's continue.
Women's right, her body, her choice.
Exactly. So here's the deal, her body, her choice, but you can decide not to put your body inside her body.
Very well so. And that's the level of accountability that I have in the situation. I used to be a winemaker. She got me drunk off my own supply. I don't ever drink my own supply. 13% alcohol content. She said, "Ooh, Daniel, come and drink this wine with me in the room. I'm gonna bring a glass." And I ain't trying to, but my dumb self did what it did, and that's just the level of accountability I have for it. So here we are today, trying to hope and pray we can find a wholesome woman that could treat your boy right. Somebody with some knowledge on her side that has been through the trenches and know how tough it is in this dating pool that got all the piss in it,
Look at her face, bro.
All the work in progress out here,
Look at her face.
That's the story you really want to tell? So that's the story you really going with?
The utter disbelief. That's the story you really want to tell? That's his story, Kendra. What story do you want him to tell? She really thought that he was up there lying. She really thought that he was up there fabricating some story just so he could probably go viral. And she thought she was doing something with this, man.
I'm gonna say you put the words in my mouth when you initially said rape.
No, you were supposed to. I was. Hold on. I was being.
What's that?
I said that. No, hold on, real quick. I said that because you said a woman trapped you. So sarcastically, I said, "Oh, she you,"
right?
And then you said, "Yes."
That's not something that you should say sarcastically. If the man has been through a situation like that, why would you be sarcastic and asking him that question?
Why would you sarcastically say that? I'm telling you, women like this, they can't fathom that women assault men. Women assault men every single day, just like there's piece of shit men out here who assault women. You can see that obviously one way with men doing it to women, but she can't see it the other way. Like you don't see women every single day being arrested for being high school teachers, getting impregnated by high school boys. This happens every single day.
That's a great point that he put out there. It's almost every other month now, or every month now, you get a story on the news about these female teachers who are messing around with these male students in high school or middle school. They're getting arrested. They're being put on trial, and it's disgusting. This stuff happens often. It's just that a lot of guys don't report it. I mean, in the case of the teenagers, when it comes to these teachers that are messing with them, sure, it's more believable because they're technically still children. Even if they're 18 in high school, they're still considered a child. However, let a grown man tell this story, and it's a problem. No one believes him.
You know what? A man can never be a damsel in distress. Facts. Because at the end of the day, we're supposed to be masculine.
Cannot.
We're not supposed to have feelings. But in the whole light of the situation,
and we're not supposed to ever have been taken advantage of.
I didn't want to have kids at that time.
So here's the deal. Okay, if you don't want to have kids at times, then your responsibility is A, you don't have sex with her because you don't want to have kids. B, you wear a condom to protect yourself from having kids. Yeah. And then we can have the grown folks. There is a grown folks pull out game. So my thing is, regardless of what she said, you are still a man that has to take accountability for participating in the activity.
And he has been, Kendra.
Video love.
He said multiple times that he's taken accountability. What didn't you hear about that?
I've already taken accountability for the whole issue.
Which shows Kendra G is not listening. He literally said this minutes ago, but she's not listening because she's already has him tuned out because there's no way in her mind that a man could be assaulted sexually.
So let's on record deny that you were because you was not.
Did you? Let's play that back.
Let's on record deny that you were because you was not.
How are you going to tell this man that he did not go through what it is that he went through? Were you there? Were you in the room with them? And ain't no way that I'm going to tell my story to somebody and they're going to sit there in disbelief and discredit me for saying that a woman forced herself either on me or forced me to do something that I didn't want to do. Ain't no way you're going to sit there and tell me this. I'm going to calm down. This is YouTube. I got to calm down.
She was there.
I'll just say in a woman's eyes, no. But if I was to talk to a group of men and tell them what happened, it didn't happen to several dudes. We just don't talk about it. These are like
me included. Dan, I'm there with you, bro. I believe you.
We just don't tell. But at the end of the day, my perception is my perception of what really happened. Only I and the person that had the child that up and decided to be a single mother, because a lot of times, you don't understand, if there are women striving out here to be single mothers, they do not want men in the picture.
Dan, listen, hold on real quick.
What's that?
I'm not disagreeing with her intentions, right? Maybe her intentions were to get pregnant by you, to stay in America. There's no disagreement there.
Right.
The intentions of what you're describing could very well be true. The disagreement is you claiming to have been
okay.
Like, that's the disagreement.
Discrepancy wise, so we can move on. I got drunk off my own supply of wine that I made, that I squished with my hands. You serve me wine, you force it down my throat, I get drunk. Now, every woman's story is if they get drunk and they get instantly the man is guilty, he goes to jail, lock away the key in the chamber of secrets. But like I said, In America, realistically, that will never be the man's narrative. And
well,
that's why
pause.
Let me finish. That's
No,
why
I'm
when you
not gonna
said
let you
that.
finish because I'm gonna let you finish, but I'm jumping in because
Sure.
you are telling the wrong story. When those women are using the example of they have passed out, right? So
No. First of all, how are you going to tell that man what happened to him?
Bang! Bang! It's good.
How in the hell are you going to tell that man what happened to him? You weren't there. And what Kendra G's is trying to insinuate is that if you ever hear a story of a woman being with a man and having too much to drink, it's because she's passed out. She can't give his consent. That is a lie from the pits of hell. Women can turn around, have sex with a dude, had too much to drink, wake up the next morning and say, damn, well, I regret having sex with a dude. You don't have to be passed out unconscious. They can just say, hey, I regret having sex with a dude. That was great now, even though it wasn't great last night when he was taking you to Pound Town. Or there doesn't even have to be alcohol involved. A woman could just say the very next day or hours later after having intercourse with a dude, she could turn around and say, well, no, I take that back. It was great.
That is true. We talked about that in a previous episode before. Today's day and age, man, it's kind of hard to tell because supposedly consent can be withdrawn. So one moment somebody can want to be touched by you or could want something from you in that manner. The next thing you know, it can be withdrawn. And then some other allegations can come about.
I mean, okay, are we talking about withdrawn within that time frame, or are we talking about withdrawn after things have been
Either or.
Then that's kind of shaky then. Like,
it is.
If you say we can do something and we did it, and then 2 days later you're like, know what? I take that back. I don't think we could have done that. You hurt me. That's not right then at that point.
It's not right. And I'm not saying it was right, but it's like, I don't know. I try my hardest to keep my hands to myself unless it's like absolutely warranted.
Yeah. For me, I'm the type of person where I'm so laid back. A lot of times the female would often make their move. And that way I know for sure.
Yeah.
The moral of the story, ladies and gentlemen, keep your hands to yourself unless someone asks you to touch them.
Consent can be withdrawn nowadays, even though when they were in the act, when everything was going well and it felt good at the time, there were no thoughts of consent being withdrawn. It was all consensual, but all of a sudden out of nowhere, you want to withdraw that. And then it's considered assault. It's considered grape, if you will. Crazy.
Kendra G is in certain scenarios that didn't happen. They're going to tell this man how he was assaulted. What?
And the crazy thing about that is like, even if there was, a substance involved or liquor involved, for some strange reason, if a woman is under the influence, she cannot legally consent. But if a man is under the influence in that act, for some strange reason, he is able to legally consent.
So have y'all seen this before? So it looks like an older poster, but this is the first time I was seeing it. So y'all look at this with me real quick, right? It says Jake was drunk. Josie was drunk. Jake and Josie hooked up. Josie could not consent. The next day, Jake was charged. A woman who was intoxicated cannot give her legal consent. Okay? Y'all see the poster, right? I have some questions for legal TikTok. So let's break this down from the top. It says Jake was drunk. Josie was drunk. So they're starting off on equal footing, right? Then it says Jake and Josie hooked up. It doesn't say that anybody was passed out. It doesn't say that anybody was forced. It says Jake and Josie hooked up. Cool. Josie could not consent. How is it that Josie could not consent, but Jake could? Like if they were both drunk. Somebody explain that part to me, because that's the part that I start to get lost, right? Let's go to the next part. The next day, Jake was charged. Okay. So even though they both hooked up, we're saying Josie could not consent. And because Josie could not consent, Jake was charged. Let's look at the bottom. A woman who is intoxicated cannot give her legal consent. So are they saying that a man who is intoxicated can give his legal consent? Because that doesn't make sense to me. For a society that loves to cry equal rights and women's rights and feminism, how is it that in a situation like this, the two are not on equal footing? When again, it doesn't say that anyone was passed out. It doesn't say that anyone was forced. It says they were both drunk, but she could not give consent. So legally, I'm talking to anyone who has any kind of legal expertise, legal background. Legally, if they had woken up the next morning and he decided that he was taken advantage of in a vulnerable state, does he have the right to press charges? Or is it only the woman who has the right to press charges? Because that's not fair. That doesn't make sense. him getting charged in that situation doesn't make sense because, again, they were both on equal footing. So I need somebody to break that down for me because it don't make sense.
So these are women that if they were drugged, they will say that they were not even coherent in the act of sex. They cannot.
I'm telling you that I wasn't coherent.
No, you are coherent because you told me exactly what happened. You told me she was on top of you. You told me that.
I told you I was on top of her. She put her legs around me.
Either way, you are telling me exactly what happened in the sexual activity. So you were not. You were conscious. So you can't use that as an example. And conscious, only thing you can say is if you don't remember nothing, and then that will still be hard because then it'll be like, how did you have an erection? But long story short, you cannot compare yourself to women who have been drugged because these women don't remember anything. You can recite
quote unquote.
No, quote unquote. That's what I'm saying. She's saying that shit is it's a fact. And also, Kendra G, he can still get an erection even if he doesn't remember it or all the other excuses you're
quote
using.
Unquote, Kendra don't remember anything. Anybody can wake up from consciousness during the act of something and completely fall back asleep. And when you go to court, like I said, it's her word against mine. Like I said, Kendra, at the end of the day, I'm not here to stir no pot. I'm not on here to stir the Yah Sisterhood, Traveling Pants Club. We ain't here to do none of that. We just here to see if there's any honest women out here that can understand their brother's situation, because there's a lot of other brothers have been through the same thing I have. And I could be a bitter baby daddy, and I could be bashing her all over the world like most men would, but I don't have time to do that. I'm a progressive male. I done moved on with my life. She done got a whole nother man and is doing what she's doing. So for me, we can all we can do is be adults about any situation and move past it. If we can't work what we got out, we'll pass it.
Babe, we're gonna move forward with the interview, but I'm gonna be honest with you. Only a goofy woman is gonna reach out to you.
Did she really just say that? So not only are you discrediting this man's story because you don't believe him, you're saying that any rational woman wouldn't believe him either. So the only woman who would believe his story enough to want to hit him up is a goofy. Wow.
Do you hear what she just said?
So when you were talking about, you got to understand that type of woman is going to hit you up. Any woman with any sense is going to look at what you're saying about your ex and the child's mother and try to consider that as like, what the hell are you talking about?
All right, guys, I'm going to end that portion right there. If you want to watch the rest of the video, go ahead and check out Theo Coop of the Do Better podcast and tell him that Residual Impact podcast sent you. Now, like I said before, Kendra deleted the original video. However, I have some of the comments from that original video. And when I tell you she was getting flamed, that is exactly the reason why Kendra deleted it. And this comes from 12/144 on X. So shout out to you, brother. Thanks for the screen recording, and I appreciate it. First comment says, I love Kendra, but she be loud and wrong. And everyone she disagrees with, something you're automatically wrong. See, I don't know what they were trying to say here, but you see the comment on the screen. I can't stand that about her. She is biased to whatever narrative she doesn't like. This comment says, oh, Kendra, you missed the mark on Papa. This is why men stay silent. Sending hugs to this brother. The next comment says, and to look an SA victim right in the eyes and say, no one will believe you and only a goofy would want you is crazy work. I definitely see Kendra in a different light now. The next comment says, as someone who has been assaulted, Kendra, you owe that man an apology. Mouth literally dropped when she said only a goofy would reach out to you after sharing his story. Even if you don't believe him, you don't have to dismiss his experience or act like it couldn't happen. The next comment says, sadly, many people feel men can't be SA'd. That's completely false. And I agree. The next comment says, damn, Kendra, very disappointed that you completely dismissed what happened to the first guest and you cannot generalize every assault case. Shake my head. The next comment says, Kendra, if these women are completely incoherent, How are they able to tell their stories? Just loud and wrong. Since he is a guy and able to tell his story, he a goofy. I'm over this show. This shit was insensitive as F. Man got trapped by a damn immigrant while under the influence, and she bluntly discredited his whole livelihood. The next comment says, Kendra took that conversation way too far. Anybody can feel like they are the victim. Another comment says, Kendra, you're the goofy for how you treated him. And the last comment that I'm going to read says, Kendra was wrong with the first guy. Dead wrong. Telling that man he was lying about his experience. And the list just goes on and on and on and on. So many comments just roasting Kendra, both men and women. And not just roasting her, but being utterly disgusted by the way that Kendra handled the situation with this man telling his story. So, with all of that being said, man, this video has definitely been long enough. I had to record this. I had to react to this. I had to say something, especially again, as a man who has been through this. Many of us, if not all of us, are not believed. And it really sickens me to my stomach. It makes me upset because so many people will dismiss us just because we're men and we're supposed to be bigger and stronger than women. True, for the most part we are. However, I will say that there are ways that a woman can coerce. There are ways that a woman can force her way into a man's pants. And I get it. To many of you, it sounds crazy. Sometimes it sounds a little off when I say it. But because I've been through it, I understand firsthand. And I'm not going to be dismissive of anybody's stories, in this situation. I don't know, man. Y'all tell me what you guys think about this in the comments. I greatly appreciate you if you have made it this far and watched the entire video, because y'all are who I do it for. You know what I'm saying? This was definitely a sensitive subject. It was a triggering subject. You can see that it's something that I'm kind of passionate about, and I actually showed how passionate I am about this in several points of this video. But yeah, man, I can relate to it heavy. So maybe one day I'll decide to tell my story, the full story. But until then, man, brothers, I tell y'all all the time, stay focused, man. Stay on your purpose, stay on your grind. Don't go out there messing with any woman until you're ready, bro. Not only that, do your best to keep it in your pants. Growing up, I made it a point to not have intercourse with any woman who I couldn't see me marrying, or I couldn't see myself having this woman as the mother of my children. And I'm not for baby mama and baby daddy culture. So in order for me to be able to risk getting this woman pregnant, because even with a contraceptive, you can still have an accident. But contraceptive or not, man, I made it a point to not get involved with any woman who I could not see as being my wife and the mother of my kids. That's why so many brothers out there nowadays can't stand their baby mamas. That's a story for another day, though. Again, thank each and every single one of y'all for tapping into this video. I greatly appreciate it. And I cannot leave without saying, first things first, Kendra, you ought to be a damn shame of yourself, okay? A damn shame of yourself. And we all know why you took that video down. Because you felt ashamed of yourself. Now apologize to that brother. I better, you know what? I'm getting a little ahead of myself. She won't apologize to that man for being dead wrong. She won't do it. I can't even do this with a straight face, bro, because this really ticked me off. This really irked me, man. I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.